Hello and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. And thank you for this journey that you've been with me through Scripture. We started December 1st in Matthew chapter 1. And we are in Matthew chapter 6 today. And we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. And here Jesus continues his Sermon on the Mount against glorifying ourselves instead of God, drawing attention to ourselves where it should be placed on God. And like I said, today our verse is Matthew chapter 6, verse 5, which says, "And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward." So Jesus isn't saying not to pray in public, but what he is saying is, don't go out of your way to glorify yourself in public. In short, excuse me, I just had something fall. In short, prayer is not about us. Okay? So, like giving to the needy, public prayer should not call undue attention to us, to the one praying. Most prayer should be personal and done in a private place. Now, in particular, it's hypocritical to parade our own piety in prayer, since the definition of prayer is to talk to God. So, again, Jesus is condemning what the Pharisees were doing. This is also, just like giving to the needy, they would announce what they were doing. They would pray in public, saying, just drawing attention to themselves instead of where it was supposed to be, which was on God. And Jesus says they have received their reward. Now, their reward is the honor, the glory that was given to them by drawing attention to themselves. It doesn't mean that God is giving them honor or anything like that. So I think that's a very important point to take away from it. One other thing that the Pharisees were doing at the time is, they had their headdress, and they had the phylacteries, which was kind of a square thing that went around their head that showed how many prayers they were doing per day, etc. Again, drawing glory on themselves instead of where it was supposed to be, which is on God. Now, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't pray in public when the time calls for it. If we're at a restaurant and we want to give thanks for our food, go ahead and do it. But don't stand up aloud, ask everyone to be quiet while you pray. Pray quietly at your table with your family. If you want to pray for, a public meeting that's going on with a government entity, go for it. But don't stand up aloud, bringing all the undue attention to yourself. That's kind of what Jesus is telling us here, not to draw attention to ourselves that's unneeded, because he knows us. Pride can have the effect of ruining us and making ourselves bigger than what we actually are. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Daily Bible Podcast. As always, thank you so much for joining me. If you need anything, any questions or prayer requests, please email me, hopewithin18@gmail.com. And as always, if you enjoy the show, please rate it, please share it. Thank you so much for listening today. God bless you guys. Thank you.